Hello and welcome. This is Frat Boy Gaming. I'm glad that you are here. I have a pretty freaking interesting story for y'all today. Um, Essentially, I'm going to tell you about the time when I was trespassing on private property and was shot at. So it starts off, I'm driving my tiny little pickup truck with these 16-inch wide wheels on the back, and these were these V-tread tires that like come off of a tractor, right? And if you don't know what V-treads are, look them up. Hell, I'll put a link in the description below, and you can click on it and go look for yourself and see what I'm talking about. You can just envision two of these things, massive tires on the back of a tiny little Ford pickup. Okay. But I'm with my buddy Jimmy and Bobby, okay? And that's not their real names, but for the sake of anonymity, we're going to call them Jimmy and Bobby, okay? And me, Jimmy, and Bobby, we did a lot of stupid stuff together. We did a lot of things that, normal people don't typically do, but at the same time, I don't think normal really exists anyway. So, Jimmy and Bobby and I get together. It's I want to say Saturday afternoon. I think I was about 16 years old at the time. So this was a while back, okay? And I get in my little pickup truck, and then Bobby has an old, I want to say early 2000s Jeep Grand Cherokee. And I remember this just like it was yesterday. It ran like crap. It was always stalling out and blowing fuses. And the doors had been cut off of it. The windows were, well, the back glass at least was broken. And I mean, this thing was just a piece, man. Like, he didn't even really have good tires on it to go through mud or run around off road. But that sucker did it anyway. And I always kept a chain in the back of my pickup for that reason. So I lived way on out in the sticks, right? Where I grew up, it took us about 45 minutes to get to the dang grocery store, dude, I'll tell you. And we go out towards, about 5-10 minutes away from where I grew up. And there's a bunch of dirt roads and logging roads and trails and stuff out there. And one dirt road, my father owned a bunch of property. And I would ride out there all the time, and it was cool. Except we had a couple people that would lease from us, and they would get kind of upset that I was tearing up food plots and roads and things like that, because they were hunters and they needed to be able to access these places. But the only consequences there was just getting chewed out by my pops, right? But there's another dirt road where we don't know who owned this property, okay? Well, actually, I think I met the guy one time when I was out there doing God knows what. But me and Jimmy and Bobby, I'm loaded up in my pickup, and they're loaded up in this little Cherokee. And we go out down this dirt road where we do not know who the property owner is, okay? So the road itself, I mean, that's county property. It's just because it's a dirt road, it's still a road, like with a road name and all that. So it's a road. It's just gravel. We get out there. We're speeding on down this road, and man, old Billy was hell on wheels, man. I'll tell you what, Billy was running this thing all over the dang road, almost hitting the gully. And I mean, I rode with him a few times, but he almost killed us on multiple occasions. So it just got to the point where I was gonna drive my truck, and he was gonna drive his Jeep. Right? And continue to bear in mind that this little Jeep was not very off-road capable whatsoever. But we get on down this road, and it's really only about 4 or 5 miles long, and you go from paved road to paved road. It connects these two parts of the street. And dude, we get on down towards the end, and there's a power line that runs up through the road, okay? And you can either go left, which is really difficult. You got to go up a hill and all this stuff. and it's just really treacherous. I didn't even take my truck up there. Or you could go right. And this is dependent upon the direction you're coming from, but from where we were headed, this was to the right. And you could go down this little hill, and it had been raining for probably a week straight. So it's all slick and muddy, and it's flooded out down in the bottom. And, of course, Billy and Bobby want to take that Jeep through there. Okay? And it's the best way I can describe it is it slopes down and then goes right back up to another steep hill. So it's just like a hole down in the bottom, about 20 feet below the road. You can drive down there fine, but getting back up out of there, brother, that's a whole nother freaking story. So Billy says, man, I'm going to go first. I said, okay, well, I'll sit here and I'll be ready to yank you up out of there. He said, all right. And Billy takes off. He takes off on down this hill, dude. And believe it or not, he didn't get stuck. He made it through with no problem at all. It's probably because he had so much momentum and was going fast. I think he kind of just skimmed over the water and it wasn't really a big deal. And he made it up and over to the other side. I said, all right, well, it's my turn. So I went through there and I went nice and slow. And remember, I've got these big old tractor tires on the back of my pickup. I mean, this truck was so small it could hardly turn these tires, but it did it when you put it in low gear, okay? And I get down there into that hole, nice, creeping it nice and easy, and man, I just tore it up. I got down there to the bottom and just stepped on it and ripped all this mud and water up and was just raising Cain going through this hole. And I got up around the other side with no problem, really. And Billy and Bobby, they were like, hell yeah, man, yeah, come on, dude, heck yeah, this, that, and other, that, and third. And Billy goes, why? I'm going to go on back through, but I'm going to do kind of what you did. And I looked at him real close. I said, Billy, I got serious with him. I said, Billy, we don't really know where we're at, okay? And I bet this power line's most likely owned by the timber company or the power company in the area. However, if you go down there and get stuck, it might pose an issue. He said, no, man, I ain't gonna go down there and get stuck. You don't know what you talking about. And I looked at him, I said, Billy, even if you want to call them tires, all four of them are balder than you know what. And I don't care. I mean, it was an all-wheel drive Jeep. But I was like, man, I don't care if it's all-wheel drive, full-wheel drive, sideways drive. You're not getting through there. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go anyway. And, like any good idiot teenager, he went through there anyway. And I was there for it, man. I was all for it. I just wanted to give him a good, nice warning beforehand, right? And he goes barreling down this hill back towards the road. And he gets down there to the bottom, and he's giving it all he's got. I mean, the Jeep is puff, he's rev limiter, all this, that. And, what do you know that I was right, okay? And I don't like to be right today, especially these days. But I was right that time, and I felt real good about it, being 16 years old and hard-headed as all get out, right? And he sits there, and he's just spinning tires, rev limited. If you hadn't seen Trailer Park Boys, I suggest you go check it out. But it was just like Ricky taking Bubbles' truck through the mud and getting stuck and sitting there and wondering why he can't move. And I just walked down there, and heck, I'm in like tennis shoes and shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm like knee deep in mud water, and I'm looking at him. I said, Billy. I said, Jimmy's a whole nother story. I said, Billy, you are stuck, dude. What are you doing? And he said, huh? And he's saying, trying to get out this mud. And I said, Billy, stop, dude. And he finally quit. And At that moment, when he was stuck in the mud and he finally stopped, we kind of looked at each other. I said, "You stuck, buddy?" But in that very moment, all three of us, now Bobby was in Billy's passenger seat, and we all kind of looked at each other and we felt that something was off. Something wasn't right. And Billy looked at me, he said, "Man, you feel like somebody might be watching us, dude?" I said, "No, ain't nobody watching us, but something definitely don't feel right, man." Well, we'll get to this later, but somebody was definitely watching us. And Billy was like, "Man, you gonna pull me out of here?" I said, "Yeah, I reckon so." And said, "Roll your windows up if they'll work." And one of them rolled up. The other one rolled up halfway and stopped. So, yeah, that wasn't going to hurt me. That was only going to get Billy covered in mud. So I got my chain out and hopped in the truck and pulled over in front of him. And it was kind of a crappy situation because he's like just barely pointed downhill towards the bottom of this hole. And I'm on this steep hill having to pull him out, right? And I backed up to him, kind of, my rear end was sort of in the mud water and front end is pointed up towards the road, and it was a very awkward situation. It was almost like the letter V if you opened it up really wide, okay? An obtuse angle or what have you, whatever you want to call it. And I get my chain hooked up and I get in the truck to go pull him out. And I swear, and it was raining too, but I promise to God to this day, I swear I heard somebody in the woods, but I didn't say anything. And I mean, I was a superstitious kid. I always thought to myself, kind of, you know, maybe there's a ghost out here or something. Maybe this here dirt road's haunted, man. But I doubt it. However, I do believe in ghosts, and we've got other stories about that too. But I go to yanking him, and I got him loose, and I told him to just put it in neutral and steer. That's the best thing you can do when you're getting pulled out of some mud or being stuck. And no, he wanted to sit there and run the gas pedal, run them tires round and round and round. But I mean, at the end of the day, it was only hurting him and not me. But those tires that I had on this truck, they would grab like 5-pound pieces of mud and they would throw them. I mean, these tires were something serious, dude. And I'm throwing mud all over his windshield, all into his truck. I mean, it was ridiculous. Like, I heard him go, "Ow, ow, ow," because a couple of them hit him, you know, landed in his lap. And God only knows what that felt like. But I get him pulled about halfway up this hill, and we hear a crack, okay? A cracking sound. And it took us a couple seconds to register what was going on. Then we hear another cracking sound. And it was like, dude, we're getting freaking shot at. Like, ain't no way. And we didn't even really think nothing of it, which is crazy looking back on it. But I get him pulled up to the top of the road, and then all of a sudden we hear a crack, 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 crack. And it's like, oh, hell, we for real getting shot at for real, dude. And he's kind of still messing around outside of his Jeep, and I'm messing around outside the truck. I don't know what we were doing. I mean, good night, man. We were crazy. And we're just sitting there not thinking anything of being shot at on somebody's property. And you know, God forbid I'm sitting here telling this story. You know, it happened some years ago, so it is what it is now. But I said, man, get in your truck. I'm getting in mine. We getting up out of here. And as soon as I shut my truck door, I hear another crack, crack, crack. It's like, man, God, Lord. I threw my chain in the truck bed. I had it in my lap, and my back glass would open up. And I slung this bundled up chain through my back glass into the truck bed, and dented up my bed and the bedside. And I think I cracked my back glass too. But boy, almighty. We got in our trucks and we got the heck out of there, dude. And thinking about it now, I don't think any of us three ever went back down that power line since. Now, part of that power line was connected to some that my father owned, okay? And as I stated earlier, we would go down there and hang out all the time. You know, play in the creek and look for crawfish, shoot snakes, just stupid stuff like that. But it was always cool. You know, we weren't trespassing. But you go about 5 miles down that power line, you'll get to the next dirt road. That ain't us. That's whoever was shooting at us. But eventually, I think this is who it was. I could be wrong. It could be just a random guy. I was driving down that dirt road one day, going to my buddy's house, okay? And I ran across this side-by-side, like a buggy, and I stopped to say hello. And it was a grumpy man. He wasn't old. He was probably in his 40s or 50s maybe. Middle-aged guy. And he said, "What you doing down here, boy?" And I said, "Well, I'm just driving down the road, sir. What are you doing down here?" I was kind of a disrespectful kid. And he said, "Well, I'm just riding around my property." And I said, "Well, this here dirt road, this county road, ain't it?" And he said, "Well, the road may not be road may be county, but I tell you what, all these woods on either side is mine." And I said, "Oh, okay, I got you. Well, I'll make sure to stay out your woods then, sir." He said, "Yeah, you make damn sure you stay out my woods there, boy." I said, "All right, I already heard you the first time. You have a good one, all right?" And he's like, "Yeah, you too. You might want to straighten that mouth up while you still got a head." And I was like, "All right." And I just rolled the window up, kept on riding. That's a whole nother story of what took place after that. But needless to say, if you're watching this, don't trespass on people's property. It's wrong and it's illegal. But we didn't care about that as kids. You know, we were just looking to drive through some mud holes and have a good time and be stupid. And we definitely had our fair share of that day. Definitely did not load up thinking that we were going to get shot at by some redneck. But yeah, all is well that ends well, I guess. And what did we learn from that situation? It was, if you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough. And if you're going to do something stupid, be freaking smart about it. I don't think we were very smart about it. And I don't really know how tough we were in that situation either. I think it was mainly just foolishness, being stupid. But if the person whose property I was on happens to watch this video, then sorry for trespassing on your property. And it won't happen again because I live 2 states away now. Now, I can't promise that the townies from where I grew up aren't going to be riding around down there, but that's them and not me. No law was ever called. You know, we were in the wrong. But at the end of the day, lessons were learned, laughs were had, and I guess friends were made. I don't know. But that is the story of getting shot at on private property. Man, thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for watching. Once again, this has been Frat Boy Gaming. Like, subscribe, and come on back next time, Jack.